All right. Greetings and welcome to the December new moon call. Pardon me for not being able to show my face. As you have possibly noticed on the last several sessions, I have not been via video because I do them at home. And at home, my reception is not the greatest, so I can do voice. So with that said, let me know if you're having problems hearing me or if it's chopping up. Please let me know because if not, I'm just gonna flow, assuming that you hear me. So if you can give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. If you can hear me clearly, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, Sheena, for joining. Thank you, Katie, for joining. All right, thank you, Sheena, for the thumbs up. I'm going to jump right into it. We have two things going on right now that I think we should kind of pay attention to a little bit. Number one, the Mercury retrograde. We're in the Mercury retrograde right now. It concludes on, it goes back direct on the 15th. However, you will still be in a shadow for like 7 to 10 days. So just keep that in mind that retrograde, Mercury is in retrograde and it goes back direct or ends December 15th. But I say clock it, if you're deciding on whether you're going to move forward on some things, making some major decisions, having some major conversations, I would say hold off until that shadow is done. Which let's just say safe side is 10 days after the 15th. Then go ahead, if you still feel like it's the right decision, go ahead and move forward with your decision, but don't do any forward movements on these things until the retrograde is over. That includes new ventures, new beginnings, getting hired, you know what I mean? Ending a relationship, starting a relationship, all these things are good for you to hang tight until the retrograde is over. Purchasing large purchases, like anything over amount of money that you don't want to waste, like, so if that's 50 for you, if that's 100 for you, if that's 500 for you, but not making too many major purchases, what you deem to be major purchases during this time, not paying off any major debts during this time, things like that. Hang tight until the retrograde is over. Now, this retrograde is interesting because it's in Sagittarius, and you got this new moon in Sagittarius. So it's really a profound time to be thinking about things from an optimistic perspective and also assessing the areas of your life where you may be a little pessimistic and kind of identifying that and striving for a transformation of mind around those things, bringing it to the frequency of positivity or optimism. So during this retrograde period, like I said, goes back direct on the 15th, so ends on the 15th. From now until then, I think it'll be great for you to really practice optimism, really consciously practice optimism. Take that note. Consciously practice optimism and identify where you may be pessimistic. And you'll be able to do that as you are consciously practicing optimism. All right. So I definitely would say that's one of the divine assignment, not just for this new moon, but up until the end of this Mercury retrograde and so on. Of course, it's not like, okay, that's over. I'm getting off the optimism boat, but putting some extra special intention around optimism, like being optimistic right now, I think will be very fruitful for you, just because this retrograde is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is about positivism, optimism, forward movement, positive energy, electric energy. It is a fire sign, so it's a fire element. So it's energetic. Keywords: optimist, positive, energetic, creative, positive frequency. So if you have a positive frequency, we know that generates. So, this is a generative type energy. So because it's in a retrograde, reflecting upon those things you are and may not be optimistic about, and making sure you inject that positive energy in there. The key thing here is raising the frequency. When I say here, I mean in this day, these days and times. It's raising the frequency. You're going to hear that as a theme going forward for years, especially with this Pluto moving into Aquarius until like the year 44, 2044. So we're talking about transformation. You're in a transformation era. If I hadn't said it once, let me say it again. You are right now, and for the most likely the rest of our lives, a bulk of our lives, in the midst of a transformation. When we go down in the history books or the history stories or whatever, this is going to be definitely deemed a stage of the time and space in this world of transformation. You are a part of it. Main thing is don't get caught up on what that looks like outside of you. Focus on what that looks like inside of you. And then observe the outside. What does that look like inside of you? And observe what's going on the outside. What does what look like inside of you? What does that transformation look like? What does that shift in energy? Positive, high vibrational shift. What does that look like? That's what you want to pay attention to, and not what anything looks like outside of you. Because here's the thing, this is a stage of transformation, and we're calling it a positive one for us because that's what we're deciding, right? But life is dual. It has polarity. And so on one side of the pole in that scale of polarity is positive, and we know what's on the other side of it. So for some, this is going to be deemed a negative upheaval. One person's story can be positive transformation of quantum leap type growth. Another person can say this was the absolute worst stage of their life. Everything around me is crumbling. Everything around, nothing is the same. Everything is changing. I don't like none of it. What story are you going to end up telling? So I'm telling it, I'm speaking what I'm seeing, what I'm being led to share, how I'm being led to guide. I'm sharing those things, but I'm sharing it from the choice. And because that decision has already been made, everything is shifting in that direction. I'm speaking from the choice made to live it, look at it, process it, live it from a positive light, in a positive sense. And that's what is necessary for us to do. So this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is just, I think, so fitting, because it's really pointing to, are you the optimist or pessimist? Which one are you? And maybe reflect, reconcile, restore, do all of the re's that Mercury retrograde called for, so that you can reach that place of positivity in whatever it is in your life. First in the mind, and then on the outside of you. So first in the mind, and then it should be reflected in your life. Changing your mind to a state of positivity, a positive state. And then, of course, your actions are going to follow. And when you change your mind, the matter around you changes. So your life is going to change. Your environment is going to change. Inside out, shifting that energy to positivism. Let's see, I have a question. Let me see if I can get that question. 1 second. Is this time presenting challenge for those who are usually optimistic to remain so? Excellent question. I would say yes, which is why I think Pam Gregory is screaming at the top of her lungs in every one of her astrological reports. Stay on your eagle's perch. And we're going to talk about that when we talk about the divine assignments of this new moon. I just started with the Mercury retrograde. We'll go into this new moon divine assignments, which is just that. What is this stage calling for us to do or consider so that we can experience this as a positive experience. And there are going to be challenges, per usual, because the challenges is what make you grow. So everything is happening so that we can continue to evolve and expand, right? So it'd be positive. The reason why it's positive shift for us, because we are the ones who are remaining on the eagle's perch. So we're going to be able to see something different than those who don't, who are not, who's standing on the ego's perch. They're going to look at it way differently. So whether this experience, all of this dynamic energy, the experience of all of this dynamic energy, whether this is positive for you or what we consider to be negative or counterproductive for you, is all where you are vibrationally. It's all where you are mentally. It's all where you are when it comes to your 12 powers that we talk about. Your faith. What do you consider to be power? You know, it's all according to that. It's all according to your judgment. Your love, your state of love is all dependent upon that. Now is the time to exercise all of that. And of course, as we exercise it, we have to focus more on the inner than what we're seeing on the outside, because the outside just might not validate what you believe to be true about this reality in life, which is, I mean, we're talking from the premise of what we here believe at Oyun, right? Now, I'm just coming from this house, the house of Oyun. I'm coming from that perspective. We know that the reality is God, period. So no matter what it manifests, what's manifesting outside of us, according to the society, world, whatever, whoever around you, it doesn't matter. Everything is God. All is God. The reality is God. And all that is that reality. That's what the reality is. There's nothing outside of that. So the reality is all is working out in our favor. Everything is in divine order. That there's a divine intelligence at play that is limitless, that is always reaching towards harmony and peace. That's what's always at play. So that's the reality we believe. So our reactions become different. The way we process things become different. So I want to jump into, because I'm kind of jumping into what is the new moon assignment. And speaking of that, thank you for that question. It's kind of leading me right into the notes, my notes for the new moon assignment. The theme of this new moon for the assignment is establishing a 5D frequency. Because bottom line, depending on where you're at vibrationally, is how you're going to experience your life. Your life or your world echoes your heart and your mind. It echoes it. And so I think it is important. I think a fruitful conversation would be about, how do we establish a 5D frequency? Fifth dimensional. We can understand it. We can say, oh yeah, I can see how this is moving into fifth dimension. We can say that and intellectually understand it and know what it means, and want to be at that place. But it takes development, establishment. It has to be established. The reason why we have been confined to third dimensional living, very earthbound, only trusting on what you see in the physical, very materialistic, and all of those different things, that's third dimensional living. Very logical, very reasonable, very controlling, that's third dimensional. Very possessive, very obsessive, third dimensional. Fifth dimensional is liberated. It's more in spirit, living more by your intuition and your divine intelligence, and living more by signs and symbols, and tuning into spirit and functioning from the third eye. Fifth dimension is about being creative from your heart space, not creative from your head space. That's fifth dimensional. Fifth dimensional relationships are not possessive relationships. There are relationships that are synchronized and divine, and uh, and come together for a higher purpose, come together for a a concise and intentional expression of God. That's fifth dimensional relationships. It's not so bound on what benefits me as my personal egoic self. It's not about that. And that becomes what the life is about. The life is not about me. My divine plan and purpose is not about me as an ego person. My divine plan and purpose is a part of the major plan and purpose. It's not about me. My personality is to serve my divine purpose. My desires, my pleasures, my goals, all of that is a part of the light that I am supposed to be in the grand scheme of things. It's not about me. The house I purchased is not about me. The person I'm with is not about me. The interest I have is not about me. That's moving, shifting to the fifth dimensional thinking, fifth dimensional living, fifth dimensional consciousness. So it is a stark difference. And here's the thing: we may feel like I'm pretty much there, Queen. I'm there. I'm in that fifth dimensional thinking. I'm saying there are things that are subtle that keeps us still living from that third dimensional standpoint, living from that more personalized standpoint. When we are being called to be impersonal, take no thought, don't identify, be the observer. And so there are certain beliefs that we still hold on to. There are certain habits, there are certain traditions. Speaking of, we got traditions. A lot of these traditions we do. Traditionally, I spend November the 28th or the third Thursday. Is it the third Thursday in November with my family, eating loads of food? And that could be a tradition, but do you know energetically what is going on during that time? Do you know what's going on spiritually? Do you know what's going on energetically? Do you know what moon it is? Do you know what type of energy it is? Do you know that in that moon phase, it may not be a good time for gluttony? That gluttony may disrupt a flow of energy for the rest of the season because you are indulging in the wrong timing. There are times in the day and in the month that is not good for overindulgence. It's a good time on the other side for fasting. It's a good fasting period. Your fasts are more effective. Your detoxing is more effective during that time. It's the time for it. And because we're not in tune, because we're living so third dimensional, there are things we are still not tapping into that we are meant to tap into because we are divine beings. We ignore the signs of nature. We ignore all of the other signs. We ignore what's going on astrologically. We ignore, and we just stay stuck to tradition or things we've done habitually because that's how we've done it. Well, this new moon, with the theme of establishing a five-dimensional frequency, there are some specific assignments to help us to move from just rote living in what the old way has been. Old patterns of thinking, old patterns of behaviors, old patterns of wants and desires and yearnings. It's time to move. It's a prime time to continue to move past those things. So I'm calling this establishing a fifth dimensional frequency. Number one, refine your belief system. I've said that probably in the last couple of moons as well, but it's a must for you to go in and ask yourself, what do I believe about that? What do I believe about money? What do I believe about the body? What do I believe about healing? What do I believe about prosperity? What do I believe about materialism? What do I believe about God? What do I believe about the devil? What do I believe about heaven? What do I believe about hell? What do I believe about the idea of right and wrong? What do I believe about myself? Assess your belief systems, refine them so that they are at fifth dimensional level. Refine your belief systems to match fifth dimensional level. Or at least notice where you are still holding on to some old ways of thinking about things. If you still think that your man brute human efforts is what is in control of the creation of your prosperity or your fruitfulness, that's an old way of thinking. We need renewal. We've been groomed in that. It's been a conditioning. You have to work hard to get this. You have to meet these standards to get that. That is a running background program in the society. So yes, it could be difficult for you to clean that up, but it's essential. So looking at your belief systems, what do you believe about the creative process? Go deeper. Don't just be on the surface. Go a little bit deeper. What do you believe when it comes to how things are created? What is your belief around that? Because that is really absolutely a reflection of your process of manifestation and how stagnant it could get sometimes because of a belief. What is your belief around the ability to heal? Or the ability to shift and change? What's your belief when it comes around logic and reasoning and intuition or spirit or the role of spirit in your life? What do I believe about these things? So those are the type of questions we ask ourselves. Number 2, establish an inner atmosphere of an observer. Establish an inner atmosphere of an observer. So remember, we're being called to live from the inside out. So whatever's going on inside is going to come out. Right? Whatever is going on the inside is going to come out. Additionally, we are called to live from the inside by processing inside of us. So we need to have a processing atmosphere, meaning life is happening and we're processing, not in reactive mode, but in reflective mode. Okay. So we have to get reflect that inner atmosphere together so that we're making sure our perception, our judgments, how we are receiving things is with the fifth dimensional lens. It's with the lens of a child of God. It's with the lens of someone with the belief system of the reality of God being the reality. So establishing an inner atmosphere of rest, stillness, poise, reflection, awareness, knowledge, and wisdom in God. Establishing your inner atmosphere as an observer. So your inner atmosphere should be at rest, still, poised, reflective, aware, knowledgeable, wise in God. How do we think we can establish that inner atmosphere like that? Continue with your studies. Continue practicing, deepening your meditation practice. Continue practicing your breath work. Be watchful of yourself as you handle the situation. Notice and be in awareness when you are reactive, when you are in the ego about something. Be aware. And then choose wisely. Make your decisions wisely. These are ways we can continue to establish that inner atmosphere as an observer, which is very fifth dimensional living. And then lastly, explore heart-mind coherence technology. If you have not yet, a lot of technology is going to start moving in a direction of really being able to support people with spirit, I feel, with emotion, with energy, I don't know. I'm just being watchful of this technology that's coming out. Of course, Heart Math Institute has been had some really good technology. That's they still do, and they're coming out with more and more. Heart mind coherence is the way to go, because it's all that's what it's about. Bringing that mind into the heart of God, bringing that mind into it, so it's not this fight between your heart, which is stayed on God, and your mind, which has influence by the world, by life, by trauma, by memories, by the subconscious. Bringing that mind into the heart of God, as you establish your heart in God, is bringing that mind into it. That is what heart mind coherence is, or at least what I encourage it for. So Heart Math Institute does have some simple technology. One of their pieces of technologies is between 200, I think it's 200 or less, a little bit less, but it's something that you can use with your personal phones, with an app. Again, the name of this is Heart Math Institute. I am not a representative of it, of course, y'all know, or y'all may not know, so I'm just saying I'm not. But Heart Math Institute is one. But once you explore Heart Math Institute, you can then start, of course, Google is going to populate things that are like it, but you will start seeing other things. We're seeing these sound beds come out. We're seeing, what are some of the other things we're seeing? I'm seeing, I saw this one, it was this brain mind monitor that had an app to it, and it kind of shows when the mind is going into different states of mind, like anxiety. It's centered towards like mindfulness and different things like that. But those of us who are metaphysicians can really utilize those pieces of technology in a profound way, since we know the depths of what is anxiety, what is panic, what are these things, what is sadness, what is this. Like, we understand the depth of it, from a deeper standpoint of anxiety is, it stems at fear. We know how to do the affirmation work. We know how to do the energy work as far as mantras and stuff like that. So having that technology for yourself can be helpful, because say you're doing some personal work and you really want to work on your reactivity, right? And so maybe you have some piece of technology that works, that is tracking when your heart rate is at that state of panic or anxiety or reactivity or whatever. It's able to kind of track it, give you some data. Yes, as Sheena's saying, wow, finally data that we can use to elevate rather than usual data. So precisely, that's exactly what it is. And so it can help you just kind of see where it can track, maybe see it just can help. So oftentimes data like that can support. Like I when I have used it, it really just pinpoints. And so these kind of things, just, start building out these things in your home. We have things, technology like exercising machines, and, top of the line juicers, and massage machines. We need to be up on our, what I'm saying, spiritual science technology. You know what I mean? Our wellness technology. So, invest in those things. I'm saying specifically right now, the technology that supports with my heart mind coherence and balancing of the heart and those type of things. It's a lot of that, those type of things kind of coming out, or the technology, you know, that supports with just energy in general. Like I mentioned, the sound bed. Like, boy, if somebody give me 10 G's right now, I would absolutely purchase a sound bed for Oyun. Because I can just imagine the amazing benefits of being able to lay on a bed that is vibrating in various hertz frequencies, and you can control it, and you can play different music and everything, and the person is feeling the vibration of the music. It's like what you can feel when you are in a sound bath studio or in a meditation studio but on a bed. Amazing. That's some fifth dimensional age of Aquarius type technology, and I'm challenging us to start collecting some. Okay, start to get some of those things. You start, because guess who's gonna have the testimonials years down the line? we'll be able to say, hey, these things worked. Just like people now starting to talk about the grounding mats and the results of implementing certain technology that has been around now for a while. It's like, yeah, this worked. This is something that you need to have, you need to get. Okay, so just as a review for the new moon, I feel like I've been talking y'all head off, child. For the new moon, is to review. Is the theme of it is establishing a fifth dimensional frequency. I hope y'all following, and y'all not just hearing me as rambling. I pray. I put that out there as a pray, a prayer. Because in reflecting on these things, my mind be it's rich. It's rich digging into these divine times. It really is. All right. So as a review, the theme of this new moon is establishing a fifth dimensional frequency. We're going to do that by refining our belief system so that we can make sure that our belief systems is at the level of fifth dimension, because whatever you believe is what you're going to live out. Establishing our inner atmosphere of an observer, really working on establishing ourselves as this observer. And it's really an inner job. So being at rest, working on being at rest, noticing when you are not, and figuring out ways that you can find yourself there. Being still, being poised, staying poised in the reality of God or the understanding of God, staying poised in that. Being reflective, staying in awareness, being knowledgeable, and being wise in God is the true inner atmosphere of an observer. And lastly, exploring heart, mind, or energy healing technology. I'll add that heart, mind, coherence, and energy healing technology. Exploring those things, just challenging you to explore them. If you splurge on yourself once a month, maybe make one of those times, a little purchase of something that can support your energy healing, keeping your vibration high, establishing a fifth dimensional frequency so that we can be vibrating on the frequency of fifth dimensional consciousness through our belief systems, how we keep ourselves internally, and how we support our energy inside and out with the different technologies that we may use. This has been a New Moon Report with the divine assignments for this new moon. So if you're asking about gemstones right now or different colors you can work with, I would absolutely still say heart and first eye will be wonderful to continue to work on, continue to balance the heart, continue to tune into the inner eye. Those are so heart chakra stones and first eye, or what's known as third eye stones. Same way with the candles, white candles, are just wonderful during this time. I mean, white, I'm really just advocating for white. Like, let's get into the white candles for now. We can sprinkle in some colors depending upon if we got situations going on. If you're trying to increase your wealth, you really need an increase in your income, throw in a green candle, a small green candle, dress it with some gold glitter and write a prayer on there or something like that. And you can burn that candle in reflection and an attraction to your abundance. But aside from that, white candles represent, purity. It represents openness. It represents holiness. It represents balance and harmony. And so that's definitely what we want to invoke during this time. And keep our mind, that candle is just a symbolism for you to say, I'm lighting the fire to all that this candle represents. And it is a reminder for me and a way that I can show my commitment by lighting this candle and letting it burn. And it can be a reminder to me to continue, to let my light continue to burn and shine. Okay, this is the ways we use candles. Candles injects a use of element that supports the intention. Okay, that's what candles do. And they are a light to us. They are reminders to us when we keep them lit. I'm specifically talking about the ones we light and keep them lit, All right. Well, I have a sound bath this Sunday if you are in Atlanta or will be in Atlanta. And then the meditation will be on Monday. I just wanted to do it tonight so you can be reflecting over it, and I won't be interrupting you and your family time if you are celebrating the holidays. I wanted to go ahead and give you the information now so you can vibe on it prior to the new moon fully coming in. All right, that's all, folks. I'll see you on the meditation on Monday.